So in this video I'm going to show you how to configure quality of service on the Linksys SRW 2008 Ethernet switch. To do that we're going to use a web browser and we're going to talk to the Ethernet switch using the web browser. I would suggest that you do that by connecting a laptop directly to the Ethernet switch and don't have anything else plugged in at the time. That way there'll be no chance of confusion about which Ethernet switch you're communicating with to do the configuration. Linksys Ethernet switches come by default with an IP address of 192.168.1.254. Now you may need to configure an IP address on your computer in order to communicate properly with that IP address. So we're just going to do that first, and we do that by going to the Start menu, then to Control Panel, and then to Network Settings, and I'm going to find my local network connection here, and if I click on there and go to Properties, I can scroll down to the TCP/IP settings. These are where you put an IP address in. I can choose Properties, and I'm going to pick an IP address that's in the same range as the default Ethernet switch. So I'm going to choose 192.168.1.100, and that subnet mask is just fine. And then I'm going to hit OK, close, close, and now I can use my web browser to connect to the switch. So now we're going to use a web browser to configure quality of service on the Linksys Ethernet switch, and we do that by opening up Internet Explorer, and we type in the IP address of the switch, which is 192.168.1.254. Now that IP address is the IP address that the switch has from the factory. So when you buy a switch new, it will have that address, or it'll have that address after you reset the switch back to factory defaults. If you've changed the IP address on the switch, you need to use the address that you changed it to in order to talk to it with a web browser. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to the switch, and so we get a login screen. I'm going to use the standard default login, which is admin with no password, and then the page takes a moment to load. So there we go. So if I wish to configure quality of service, then I go to the QoS tab, so I can click on that. And you can see that by default the QoS mode is set to basic, which is appropriate, and we need to configure the settings on basic mode to use diffserv. So we can do that in this basic mode tab here. So I click on that, and then I change the trust mode from class of service to DSCP, like so. Then I scroll down and hit save. And that's all there is to it. We're done. We've configured quality of service on the Linksys Ethernet switch. So just a quick reminder, if you're using 100 megabit per second devices with Dante, definitely enable diffserv QoS in your Ethernet switches, and in general, if you have gigabit, use gigabit as much as you can. If you configured an IP address on your PC in order to communicate with the Ethernet switch, you need to go back and restore your PC network configuration settings to what they were before we got started. So to do that, we can go back to the control panel. We go to Network Settings, Network Interface, down to TCP/IP again, And in this case I'm going to choose obtain an IP address automatically and obtain a DNS server address automatically. And that was the configuration that my PC started with. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to check out our website for more information from the team at Audinate.